Hi there folks, my name's Z and welcome to the 5th exciting episode of I Don't Know and You Can Too. I was out earlier this week and I needed a drill to finish a project I was working on, and I didn't have one in my truck and I had to drive all the way home to get one to finish it, and I decided I don't want to have to deal with that anymore. Now I could go out and buy a drill to put in my truck, but I don't have the kind of money for that, so today what we're going to do is we're going to repurpose this one as a truck drill. I got this in a collection of stuff from my grandfather a while back, and I was going to replace the cells in the battery and reuse it that way, but then I would just have another cordless drill lying around that I don't use, and so today we're going to convert this into a 12-volt corded drill that I'm going to keep in my truck, and we'll get a few more years of use out of it where it actually gets used. Today's project is pretty simple, but it is going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to use parts I have lying around the shop already. I'm going to use some 16 gauge wire. I could use electrical tape, but I'm going to splurge and use some black cloth tape, athletic tape. I'm going to use my industrial lighter, some alligator clamps, wire clippers, some 1/4-inch heat shrink tubing, and I'm going to break out the multimeter so I don't have any wiring issues like I did on the last video. You're also going to need a 12-volt power supply to test it when you're done. I could go use the truck where it's going to be used, but it's midnight already. It's even colder outside than it is inside, so I'm just going to use this little scooter battery tonight. Now the first thing I did is tested the polarity on this battery. This old drill doesn't have the polarity marked on either the drill or the battery, so the way I did this was by taking my multimeter and pushing it onto both electrodes, one with each side, and even though the battery doesn't give you enough juice to run the drill, it will still let you know which direction the voltage is coming out on your multimeter. So in this case, I know that my back post here is my neutral and the front post here is my positive. Now that I know which direction I'm going to wire this, so that I don't have to redo it in shame tomorrow evening, I'm going to cut about 11-foot cords for this. I'm aiming for about a 10-foot cord when it's done. I'm giving myself a foot for the prep. Right, I have the cords cut. Next I'm going to strip one end off of each and secure an alligator clamp. I could solder these on, but I'm just going to use the screw that's on there, and then I'm going to help hold them in place with about 2 inches of shrink wrap. Now that I've got the alligator clips on, I'm going to insulate them a little bit further by folding a piece of tape over the clips so that they don't touch each other inside the drill, and connect them to the appropriate connectors. Now that the cords are secured to the posts inside, I want to secure this cord so that in the case that it drops or I pull on the cord, these don't come disconnected. Now luckily for me, this has a lanyard loop on the back that I'm going to pass this cord through a couple of times and then run some shrink wrap up the cord. Otherwise I'd have to like wrap it around the handle or something, and it would just look real shoddy. So this is a lot nicer. Alright, I've got the cord wrapped, and I've got some shrink wrap on there just a little bit back. I've wrapped it around a couple of times here because I absolutely do not want these coming disconnected and touching, because it'll short out whatever I have it connected to, which in my case is going to be a truck. Now I could run shrink wrap down the length of this for the next part, but that would be really expensive. And this is going to work a lot nicer. You can do it with electrical tape if you try and do it on the cheap. This is a little more expensive than the electrical tape, but it's a lot less expensive than shrink wrap, and it's going to come out a lot nicer. So I'm going to take and I'm going to wrap this cord all the way down until I'm about a foot from the end, and then I'm going to stop. I'll catch up with you there. Now that I have my perfectly normal and not at all shitty looking cover on my extension, I'm going to take a piece of heat wrap and put it on the end, leaving about 1 inch over where the end of the tape ends. This piece is about 4 inches long. I'm then going to wrap this with tape up about another 3 inches and put another piece of heat shrink on the end of that piece. That will ensure that this cord doesn't come unwrapped and give plenty of mitigation to make sure this does not come apart. Alright, now that I've got this re-wrapped and the second piece of heat shrink on here, I'm going to attach the alligator clamps to these ends. Alright folks, now I'm back and I double bagged the end of these cords because I want to make sure they were double, extra protected where the rubber meets the road. I've got it all hooked up, and so this drill should work just fine now, as of course it does. Now there's a lot of things I could have done on this project to make it a little fancier, done better with the cord, or wired this up a little more permanently. But I needed a drill for my truck, and now I have a drill for my truck. As I always say, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing poorly. Thanks for joining me tonight. If you liked it, hit the like and subscribe button, and leave a comment if you want to, saying if you enjoyed the show. Help convince the missus that it's worth having me out here in the garage all night. Thanks guys, I'll catch you on the next one.